You're still not consistent. Your problem? You keep trying to use force to push through the resistance between you and the man you want to be. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Discipline is like gasoline. It always runs out. And you can't just go to the gas station and fill up on more discipline every time you're empty. So what's the real solution? By the way, I'm Marquez Pye. I came from a broken family. I'm a child abuse survivor and a father who almost lost everything because I was allowing the pain of my past to run my life. I now help high-performing fathers do the identity work that saves their marriages, protect their kids' childhoods, and their own reputation before it's too late. My mission is simple. Make fathers unbreakable so their families become unbreakable. All right, this is what I discovered. I'm going to walk you through the 6 steps that I use with fathers in my high-ticket coaching program to reset their nervous system so they can have what they want at work and at home. Let's start with step 1. All right, so step 1 is what I call identity targeting. Your brain doesn't respond to, I want to be better. It responds to, this is who I am now. Most fathers are trying to change their behavior without changing their identity. And that's why nothing sticks. Your brain has something called the reticular activating system. It filters reality. It shows you what it thinks matters to you. So if you just say, I want to be a better dad, your brain will ignore that because it's too vague. But if you say, I'm the kind of father who never breaks his word, your brain locks on to that. It starts showing you opportunities to prove it. It starts filtering out the old version of you, those old stories, those old behaviors. That's identity targeting. You're not trying to be better. You're becoming someone different. But here's where most fathers get stuck. They know who they want to become. They just don't know how to make their nervous system believe that it's safe to actually be that person. So that leads us to step number 2. Step number 2 is something that I call the 2-path reality. So your brain, it's not optimized for happiness, it's optimized for survival. And survival means avoiding any type of threat. So here's the real problem. If you only visualize success, you're missing half of the equation. Your brain, it needs contrast. It needs to see both futures, the one you're building and the one you're avoiding. Let me give you a quick example. I work with a lawyer, super sharp guy, very strategic, but his 10-year-old son flinched every time he raised his voice. His wife stopped believing him when he said, I'll be home for dinner. He was winning in the courtroom, but losing at home. And here's what he told me. He told me, I know I need to change. I just can't seem to do it. So we did something different. We built 2 different futures. Future A, 5 years from now, he's still reacting the same way. Still breaking promises, still too busy to show up. His son stops trying to connect with him too. His daughter moves out the day she turns 18 and doesn't come back. His wife stays, but she's emotionally gone. He built a career, but he lost his family. Future B, 5 years from now, because he did the work, he reset his nervous system. His kids trust him. His wife believes him. He's still successful at work, but now he's winning at home too. He made both futures clear. He didn't just talk about them. We wrote them out. We put images on them. We made him feel both paths. And here's what happened. Staying the same started to feel unsafe. Not changing actually became the threat. And that's when everything shifted for him. See, your brain will move away from threat faster than it will move toward reward. So we weaponize that. We show your nervous system, this is where you're going if nothing changes. And this is where you're going if you do the work. That's the 2-path reality. Now, once your brain sees both paths, the next step is updating your identity so the new behavior feels automatic. That's step 3. See, your brain will violate logic before it violates identity. If your behavior conflicts with who you believe you are, behavior changes temporarily because behavior follows identity. This is why people sabotage goals that don't match who they think they are. Let me show you what I mean. I work with a real estate entrepreneur, built a 7-figure business, properties across 3 different states. From the outside, he had it all together. But his kids always had to walk around on eggshells when they were around him. His wife stopped inviting him to family events because she knew he'd either cancel last minute or show up and ruin it by being on his phone the whole time. And he would always say the same thing: I just need to stop yelling. So we work on anger management. He'd do great for a week, maybe even 2, and then something would happen and he'd blow up again. Why? Because he was still operating from the same identity. He still saw himself as the guy who loses control when things don't go his way. So we stopped working on the yelling and we started working on the identity. I asked him 3 different questions. The first one was, what does a man who never break his word actually believe? The second one was, what are 3 daily behaviors that kind of man defaults to? And the third one was, what are 3 standards that he does not negotiate? And here's what happened. He stopped seeing himself as the guy trying not to yell, and he started seeing himself as the man that his kids could count on. And once his identity shifted, it's crazy. The yelling stopped. Not because he tried harder, but because he became someone different. That's the father filter. You're not managing behavior, you're updating the operating system. All right, so we targeted the identity. We've shown the brain both paths. We've updated our filter. Now let's talk about the next 3 steps quickly, and then I'll show you how to lock it all in. Step 4 is the environment reset. You can't become a different man in the same environment that made you the man you don't want to be anymore. Context beats discipline every single time. Your brain runs on autopilot when it's in familiar places. So if the kitchen table is where you lose your temper every night, that table becomes a trigger. So your brain plays that old script. Change the table, change the room, disrupt the pattern. I've had clients rearrange their entire house, change their morning routine, move to a different seat at the dinner table. It sounds super simple, but it works because your brain says, wait, this is different. I need to pay attention. And when your brain pays attention, it becomes plastic again. Neurons that need to get a divorce, get a divorce. And they start connecting in new ways. That's environment reset. Step 5 is a nervous system training. You gotta find authority, find proof that it works. Get around people who've done it. Surround yourself with men who expect that version of you to show up every time. You gotta find emotion. Make it mean something. Attach the new behavior to something you care about deeply, like your kids, your legacy, the man you want to be remembered as. When you align those 4 things, focus, authority, tribe, and emotion, your nervous system starts working for you instead of against you. That's how you retrain your nervous system. Now here's a step that locks it all in. This is where the change becomes permanent. This is what I call the rewiring formula. Look, here's the truth. Knowing what to do really isn't enough. You need a formula that makes this change stick. And that formula is this: repetition plus emotion plus disruption equals permanent change. Let me show you what that looks like. I work with a college coach, super disciplined guy, respected in his program. His players would run through a brick wall for him. But at home, his teenage daughter wouldn't talk to him. His wife was emotionally checked out. He was the same guy who could motivate 18-year-old, 19-year-olds, 20-year-old kids to give everything on the field, but his own kids were terrified of disappointing him. And he knew what to do. He's read books, he's been to therapy, he knew he needed to be more present, he knew he needed to be less reactive and be more patient, but every time he tried, it only lasted a few days. Then something would happen. He would have a bad practice, his team would lose, and he'd come home and snap at his kids over something small. So here's what we did. I got him to start relying on willpower, and we built him a system. Every morning, before he left for practice, he'd sit at the kitchen table for 5 minutes, just him, with no phone, and he visualized the father that he was becoming. Not the coach, the father. We attached it to something that mattered, his daughter's wedding day. He imagined her walking down the aisle, and he asked himself, does she want me there? Or is she doing it because she has to? We changed his environment. New routine, different seat at the breakfast table. He even started parking in a different spot when he got home. His brain got the message. we're not that guy anymore. And here's what happened. 3 months later, his daughter asked him to go to dinner. Just the two of them. She hadn't done that in 2 years. Not because he tried harder, because he rewired his system. That is the Rewire formula. So let me bring this all together. Here's what we covered today. Remember, the first step was identity targeting. Your brain locks on to who you're becoming, not what you're trying to do. The second step was the two-path reality. Show your nervous system both futures, the one you're building and the one you're avoiding. The third step, the father filter. Update your identity so the behavior becomes automatic. Step 4, environment change. Change your surroundings to disrupt the old patterns. Throw your brain off. Step number 5, the nervous system training. Use focus, authority, tribe, and emotion to train your body, not just your mind. Step 6, the Rewire formula. Repetition plus emotion plus disruption equals permanent change. This is exactly how I teach fathers to reset their nervous system in my high-ticket coaching program so they can have what they want at work and at home. Inside the fatherhood program, I work with high-performing fathers. We go through a series of steps together to help you gain emotional clarity, control, and stability, so you can stop choosing between success at work and showing up at home. If you're ready to do the identity work that saves your marriage, protects your kids' childhood, and locks in your reputation before it's too late, link is in the description. Remember, unbreakable fathers create unbreakable families.